Well, now that EVs can charge faster than you can pump petrol into your tank, will the "it only takes 5 minutes" deniers have to find another excuse? CATL launches not one new battery, but in a tooth and nail fight with BYD and Panasonic and Samsung, there are 3 massive breakthroughs. This is Dave Takes It On. I'm Dave. Welcome to all my new viewers and welcome back to my regulars. I've spent the last 3 years travelling the country, meeting the industry leaders, trying out the latest EV chargers, exploring and explaining the very latest technology to help you understand EVs better and make your EV experience simpler and cheaper, saving you money. Well, in repeated surveys, range and charging speed rank high on the list of reasons why many have not yet completed that switch to EVs. We hear that when EVs can beat their mythical 5 minutes to fill a tank, they might consider them. We're told that when EVs can do more than 1,000 miles on a single charge, they might well just have a look. Well, now the world's top battery makers have responded. BYD was the first, and they announced a 9-minute charging time. Now CATL's just got one better. It's just shattered those claims with a battery takes just 6 minutes, and it also has a range of up to 1,000 miles. While their first sodium-ion battery, the Nextra, that shrugs off temperatures of -40°C and will more than halve production costs, launches in the next few months. But that's not all. For all the doubters that claim solid-state batteries will never happen, CATL casually announced that they've been making one for 3 years. But it was never launched or released into the EV car world. Instead, it has been operating quietly in the aviation world, where the power density makes far more sense. Now, NMC batteries are still very popular because they offer the greatest energy density of any mass-produced battery at the moment. This is vital in smartphones, where battery size and weight are critical, but also in EVs, where weight is an efficiency killer. A heavy EV just uses more power. NMC were until recently in a league of their own with about 250 watt-hours per kilogram. But then LFP chemistry arrived and promised cheaper and safer batteries, but at a price, not a money price, but energy density. LFP offered at best about 185 watt-hours per kilogram, so were suited better to budget and more basic EVs, where price is more critical than range. The Nextra batteries, using sodium-ion chemistry, just use salt as their core material, eliminating the use of not only lithium but also nickel and cobalt, making them cheaper and greener and politically more correct. But at the price of even more energy density lost, until now. The latest generation Nextra now match LFP for energy density, but at far less than half price. But announcements are one thing, mass production is yet another. Well, CATL has already received its first order for the Nextra, and it's a whopper, the largest single battery order in history. 60 gigawatt-hours of batteries for use in BESS, battery energy storage systems. And that thrusts Nextra straight into mass production, where costs will continue to tumble, and it will be useful for EV drivers, and we will benefit. Now, I said 3 massive breakthroughs, but there were others, like an upgraded kill-in battery, LFP battery, that now exceeds NMC energy density, 280 watt-hours per kilogram, and with a weight reduction of 6%. But even more dramatic was the kill-in condensed battery that offers aviation technology and uses the latest silicon carbon anodes, resulting in EV batteries with 350 watt-hours per kilogram, a world record for mass-produced batteries. Now, for more details about silicon carbon anodes, I've released 2 videos recently, and I'll leave a link at the end of this video. It's well worth a look. Well, China states that their average mileage is 9,600 kilometres, about 6,000 miles. That's not much less than ours, which is at 7,400, according to Britannia Car Leasing. And for the Chinese, this new kill-in condensed battery means having to charge just once every 2 months. Yeah, no more weekly trips, spending that magical 5 minutes to top up with petrol. With this one, just charge once every 2 months, 6 times a year. But here we head back to those myths, because I fear that the general public has fallen well and truly under the media spell, and it's going to take a paradigm shift to change their view. You see, Going back over 20 years after the invention of the petrol car, filling up involved going to the local hardware shop and buying cans full of petrol. That was until the petrol station was invented. And that's where that 5 minutes starts falling apart. 80% of EV drivers, according to ZapMap, charge at home, overnight, mostly on the cheap rate while they sleep. How far away is the nearest petrol station? Driving there is never factored into their 5 minutes, nor is the fact they have to stand there for that entire 5 minutes holding the nozzle. Then they conveniently forget that they have to walk over to the kiosk and often queue up to pay. Yeah, I know they have pay at the pump, but from what I've seen, most people do not use that. It's probably because they want a chocky bar or packet of cigs or to use the toilet. And that applies doubly on the motorway services. If you want the toilet, you can't, or shouldn't, do that and fill up simultaneously. You need to fill up your tank separately from emptying yourself. Nor can you buy a Big Mac or coffee or meal deal while you're filling up. Yet the average EV driver can and does do all those things while his battery is filling itself up. They plug in and they're instantly free to wander off to relieve themselves or buy their meal deal or coffee. When charged, they don't have to go and queue to pay. You see, that 5 minutes is a made-up myth that's not real for 99% of all petrol and diesel drivers. But admittedly, nor does filling the tank usually take 15 or 20 minutes, which used to be the average charging time. While CATL, BYD, Panasonic, Tesla, Samsung, amongst others, have now killed off that myth. They all have much far faster charging times for the latest generation of EV batteries. Will the public mentality change? I doubt it. But we're about to find out. You see, that's going to happen when they look at the price to get an EV that has a range in excess of 1,000 miles. That is when they will finally realise that, hey, none of our petrol or diesel cars ever had anything like that sort of range. See, most of them hit around 400, 500, 600 miles. Okay, there are zealots who will use the slowest acceleration you could possibly imagine, drive at 20 miles an hour, slipstream to avoid drag and never touch the brakes, who try to hit that magical 1,000 miles on a full tank. Few have succeeded, very few. Autocar tried all that and they only got 960 miles. When the long-range version of an EV can get a genuine 1,000-mile range with normal driving, how many will think, hey, I charge at home every night. I never get anywhere near even half a charge, let alone flatten the battery. If I only do 1 or 2 trips a year that need me to charge, do I need to spend an extra $3,000 or $5,000 or more for that special battery that I'll probably never use? You see, I usually eat my lunch while charging on a road trip. In fact, it's a real nuisance if it fills up totally before I finish my Big Mac and I've got to go move it off the charger. Why can't EVs have a slow charge mode? Some of you have asked me. Well, that exact same argument will also leap to the fore when they realise they do charge at home every night. Well, usually several nights a week, not every night. So why spend that extra 3, 5 or more grand to get a super duper incredible ultra speed charging car when all I ever do is plug it into a 7 kilowatt home charger or a handy 3-pin plug? Many EV drivers only charge at public chargers once or twice a year. So the same applies to the Nextra batteries that shrug off charging delays and short winter range in temperatures of -30, -40. Hey, I live in the UK and we don't get anything like that. Okay, the beast from the east was an exception, but even that only lasted a few days and that never got below -14. Why should I choose a sodium-ion battery when the LFP killing condensed offers me a 1,000-mile range? Or maybe I should get the extra because it's so much cheaper. We're losing the myths. Well, EV batteries might be heading for a new era. For decades, we've always had to choose what performance we wanted in the showroom. See, the basic petrol or diesel model always had the smallest, least powerful engine. If we wanted more, we'd get a larger engine version of the same car. More still, we would always choose a GT. And if we wanted the ultimate, there was always an ultra-high performance model right at the top of the list and top of the price list. The Ford ST range or the BMW M series or the Audi's S or RS series. Because even the most basic EV today has much better performance than any petrol version as standard, it looks like batteries are going to be taking over that choosing the engine role. For the 10-mile-a-day commuter, the most basic LFP or Nextra battery, whichever's cheaper. For that bit more range, maybe even better performance, stick with the top-of-the-range LFP or go NMC. Finally, the ultimate, the rep on the road, the long-distance delivery driver for whom time is money. Just go solid state and be able to fully charge your battery 2 minutes, not 5. The original NMC batteries of a decade ago quickly learned the speed was not good for batteries. Better EV performance drained those batteries quicker, and the faster charging caused overheating that shortened their lifespan. But CATL has also just changed that from lessons learned. The internal structure of the new batteries now offer far less resistance, so electrons move quicker and temperatures remain cooler. Better cooling now means you can push them even harder and still keep temperatures down, extending the life of the batteries. See, Tesla originally declared their early batteries were good for about 500,000 miles. 500,000! Way past the life expectancy of the EV in normal use. Today's batteries now quote 1 million as the starting point, and up to 5 million is possible. Now, this is very, very unlikely to worry you. The average car owner only keeps their car for about 6 or 7 years. The average life of the car is now about 14 years. You'd have to do about 70,000 miles a year to get anywhere near even 1 million miles, and 1,000 miles a day to outlive the very, very best now coming out of China. Batteries are long since past the days of being a worry point or even worthy of a single thought. Will they fail earlier? Of course they will. Some will, just like some petrol and diesel cars fail prematurely, like VW is issuing a recall notice for almost 1 million petrol cars because they're already failing in large numbers, which itself is due to cutting the cost of every engine component to the absolute bone to make a bit of extra profit. These product recalls are now so incredibly common, we just take them for granted, like Jeep and Citroën and Peugeot cars catching fire in their garages. Oh, and before you say EV, no, these were petrol engines, not even hybrids, where the clearance between the particulate filter and the 48-volt belt starter generator was too short. Design flaw. It states that in wet conditions there could be contact between the components causing water to enter the engine, leading to a potential risk of fire. Water and fire. Anyway, it's affected 44,000 cars, all petrol, no hybrids, no EVs, and makes like Citroën, Peugeot, Vauxhall and Fiat. So yeah, some battery packs are likely to fail due to manufacturing or design failures some years in the future. But generally batteries today are amazingly stable. Such a shame that the myths linger on. Battery fires is still in the top 10 of reasons why people will not go electric. But the really scary thing is that EVs have only been mainstream for about a decade. Petrol cars have had 100 years. Well, if today CATL can make a battery with a 1,000-mile range that recharges in 6 minutes, lasts 1 million miles, can anyone out there imagine what a battery in 2035 will offer? Could we be looking at an EV that needs an annual service that also includes a full recharge? That's it for the year. It's not that far away. So a typical battery today is about 75 kilowatt hours, so an average 7,400 mile driver only needs to charge every fortnight. That's 26 times a year. With an EV that has a solid state battery with a range of 1,000 miles, that reduces to charging just 8 times a year. Could we get that down to 1 charge a year? I'd have to say it's not impossible. It's also not impossible that will be in the next 5 years. Now picture the scene. You fully charge your EV, then you decide to head from your home in Colchester to Land's End for a seaside holiday. On a whim, you decide to drive all the way up to John O'Groats just for the hell of it. Then you head back home to Colchester in Essex. And on arrival, your battery state of charge is down all the way to 75%. And that's when range anxiety kicks in. Oh, I can only do that 3 more times. I need a bigger battery. No, just joking. CATL is certainly showing us the future with battery technology. The likes of Tesla and BYD and XPeng are showing us the future with EV efficiency. As that rises from 4 to 5 miles per kilowatt hour, then on to 6, so the battery size needed for an annual charge can reduce proportionately. Think about the very first mobile phones, commonly called the brick. And compare that to what is recognised as the smallest smartphone today, the Unihertz Jelly 2. And you can imagine it can happen. And the really amazing thing is that to recharge it using a BYD 1.4 megawatt charger that they're already being installed in the UK will only take an hour or so. Yeah, an hour or so once a year. And for the nerds among you, charging off-peak at a Tesla charger, that total bill for the whole year, assuming they can do it fast enough, would be 350 quid. Putting that into perspective, that might well be the price you're going to have to pay to fill up an average petrol-powered car tank in a few months if the Persian thing doesn't end soon. Now, well done to CATL for showing this technology. For all you who cannot charge at home, grab the first EV that comes on the market with 600-mile range or more and charge it just once a month, anywhere you choose. Maybe even make it a family day out once a month to charge your battery. Now, getting back to Earth, when will we see all this? Well, if you never buy new cars, you've got a long wait. Sorry. If you do buy new cars, the first of these is going to be in our showrooms in the UK later this year. Yeah, 2026. Changan has announced it will be launching the world's first mass-produced passenger EV with CATL Nextra battery mid-2026. That's any time in the next few months. And Chery is reported to be launching a budget EV with their own solid-state battery developed with unknown Kunpeng later this year. That's maybe 6 months away. But this launch just shows why CATL is working so hard to get their batteries onto the market. Others are already well along the way to getting their own batteries out into the EV world. Heaven knows what BYD and Tesla and Samsung are working on. Well, CATL might be just one to totally smash a string of myths that perpetuated and damaged EV adoption. This is early days, not quite pioneer first adapter range, but definitely not mainstream yet. And look to the future. Cars today bear little resemblance to more than 50 years ago when I first started driving. Would you believe that heaters were an optional extra and car stereos hadn't even been heard of? No radio space. Those were the days, cross-play tyres, no synchromesh on first, drum brakes, setting the distributor points gap by hand to 12 thousandths of a minute. Yeah, kids today, they'll never believe you. Well, if you enjoyed or learned from this video, you might like to click one from our playlist that we're showing at the end. So thanks very much for watching. I'm Dave.